It's difficult,
Yeah,
right? And
for sure.
knowing that we have such a limited time. But I think when being a psychologist coming into it, we know that the individuals we're working with, they have to be ready for the change. And so usually everybody is at a different place.
Welcome to another episode of the Powerless to Powerful Recovery Podcast. My name's Jason. I'm an alcoholic and addict. As always, our mission is to share experience, strength, and hope across multiple media platforms, the story of addiction and the road to recovery. We are not affiliated with Alcoholics Anonymous or any other 12-step based organizations or groups in any way. And I'm here with my co-host, Ronnie, no matter what, 82 pounds slimmer. Just look at this man wearing all black because it's the death of the industry because Desert Recovery Centers is here. I love the fire. Joint Commission clearing all. I don't mean enough. We can't stop winning in 2025, brother.
Let's go.
We got a special guest today.
It's real special.
I know. It's mysterious. She's mysterious at times, you know? And then she comes in with her humor and her knowledge, and it just... God, it warms your heart. We got Dr. Nguyen on the show.
Nguyen,
Let's
yes.
welcome Dr. Nguyen. Matt, hit the clapping.
Oh.
Yes, yes. She is in the building. And, you know, this is an honor to really have Dr. Nguyen here. And, you know, Ron, we've had the ability to work with a lot of clinical directors and clinical psychologists or want to be clinical psychologists, or they think they're clinical psychologists. They think they can do things that are out of their scope of the work and they don't want to believe us. You know who you are. What's it been like with Dr. Nguyen, dude?
Wow. She's going to probably roast me for this, but it has been absolutely in the 11 months that I've been able to work for Dr. Nguyen, the amount of knowledge that she has given to me personally, and she does it in such a way, your delivery of it is just so
top notch.
Yeah, I mean, I receive it, and I'm able to comprehend it. And I know the rest of the team is as well. You know, I just want to say this: we have sat through hundreds of hours of clinical oversights from many different people giving us information. And from the very first time that you did a clinical oversight, we were texting each other during it, and we weren't paying attention. And just how you delivered it, and in layman, where we could understand, and then be able to apply that. Your ability to teach definitely is huge for me. And
yeah, I texted you. I was like, bro, that was actually a clinical oversight that I was engaged in. I learned something, dude. I loved it. It was phenomenal. So we got Dr. Nguyen on the show, clinical director, clinical psychologist. She does it all. Welcome to the show, Dr. Nguyen.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
I know. And, you know, we've been planning this for weeks. I gave you plenty of time to be ready for this.
Exactly.
And we're super grateful that you're here. You know, anytime we ever have a guest on the show, I mean, especially Dr. Nguyen, you know, I got to talk about it. I got to talk about Desert Recovery Centers because that's what we do. We built this company together. It's a family business. You know, when I was talking to the other partner of the company and he was asking me about what are we going to need to build this company, you know, because the company all started from an act of service. And I share the message all the time. We have a common friend, me and my partner, our partner have a common friend. And I saw that he was at New Freedom and he was posting motivational stuff. Shout out Sergio, right? And I like motivation. I like hope. I like inspiration. I like Facebook Lives. I watched him for 3-4 weeks and I reached out to him and I sent him a message on Facebook, was like, yo, I see you're out. I see you're on fire, dude. I like fire. Do you need a hug? Do you need a job? Do you need cigarettes? You want some Nikes? Like, what's up, dude? People want to help people who want to help themselves.
Sure.
That's just the bottom line of it. And on that call, he ended up calling me and we were talking for a minute. He's like, oh man, you're sponsoring a ton of guys. Everyone. He's like, you know what? The Nguyen family wants to get into the recovery business. They're looking to make another jump. He's like, you know what? I'm not the guy. He's like, but you are. Hold on real quick. And he three-wayed our partner, right? Mm-hmm. And the next night, because he asked me, well, let's go to dinner. Where do you want to go? I'm like, dude, you guys didn't know that I was only out of prison like fucking 1 year. Like, you guys had no idea.
Yeah, we usually don't associate with people like we've been 1 year out of prison, maybe 2 years out of prison.
2 years is acceptable?
2 years is acceptable.
Okay, maybe it was 2 years.
Cutting it.
End of 2023. So yeah, it was almost 2 years, just about. A little short.
But I calculated the days you must have.
You know, and so we were talking, we went to dinner and that's where Desert Recovery Centers was born, right? But on that phone call, he's like, what do we need that's extremely important? I said, well, first we need a nice house, right? We want to be in the game. And he sent me the house and I was like, perfect,
Nice
right? We
house.
have the greatest houses in the game. But anyone can get nice houses. It's you that makes this company and your clinical team and the ability to connect with the clients in such a short period of time. That is our secret sauce, right? But I told him, I said, hey, dude, the biggest thing that we need is a clinical director. And he said, dude, my sister-in-law is a clinical psychologist. Does that work? You think? Right? And then I met her and she was looking at me crazy as hell. And because I was eating like I was on the yard still, just smashing the nachos.
Nice.
You know, she was looking at me crazy, right? But we sat there and we built the Performa and we really looked at it and really saw the ability, and really it was the need. And we saw the need to get into this space to help. And we made that jump. And so we were able to work together and build this company. We're March 4th will be a year.
Wow.
Dude, we made it a year, dude. Like it's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. 3 locations. We got a high success rate. It's just been pretty amazing, you know, but I got to ask you this. I have to ask you this. So when I said, don't even worry about it, Dr. Nguyen, I got the team, right? I said, I got the team. Don't even trip, right? Yeah. I bring over Johnny Lazaro, Ron Alessi, Mohammed, Emmett, right? What were you thinking? Just be honest.
Well, you know, I can remember. I don't remember meeting everybody, right? But I remember meeting Johnny, like at the open house.
Yeah.
I remember meeting a few other people, and I think what I thought was these individuals were very authentic, right? Very authentic and passionate people. So I think, you know, as a clinical psychologist or as somebody who's endeavoring to open up a new business, you're concerned, right? About who's going to take care of what, right? So there's always those questions like, can they do it? But I think what was present was the passion of and the authenticity. And I think that is very hard to find in people, right? The true genuineness that they want to help. And so even if they do fall short, right? You have the intention to help, but your heart is in the right place. And I think that, and over time, of course, any doubts that I had, not that I had many. I mean, Ron's sitting here, so we can talk about it later.
Another show, another time.
But I think working with you, with Ron, with Johnny, Emmett, my goodness, I think everybody raises the bar, right? Yeah. And I think I'm constantly wanting to do better because they are doing so. They're on fire. They're always on top of everything that I don't want to fall short. So
inspiring. Right? I mean, you look at us and you're like, these guys, who are these guys? You know what I mean? You take a look and then, but I'm so glad you said that, you know, with a heart. Check out our Google reviews. And we have the most amazing facilities. We have basketball courts, walking path, frisbee golf at one location, basketball court, putting green, pool, cold plunge, gym, you name it, we got it. But we never get compliments about the houses. It's always the heart of the staff. It's always the passion. It's always the authenticity because we really care. And 30 days is such a short period of time. And I just want to get your opinion on that. You know, when we and I want to get your opinion on it too, Ron. You know, a 30-day program is a blink of an eye. I used for 20 years. In 30 days, prison math doesn't even check out. I'm not even cross-canceling things that are no tattoos, 75%, 77, 85, new Senate bill. I'm home, right? That doesn't even check out on this math. So how do you really feel about the 30 days? How hard is it to really treat somebody in 30 days? Because I know we pack everything into 30 days. Want to say holistic? We do it. And I don't even need to get into it. Check out the website. We do it all. 6, 7 different ancillary services. So what's your thoughts on the 30-day thing? Because that's what we are. We're client advocates. We're literally scrapping and fighting for days for clients who have suicidal intentions, who've been using. We're on the street. I mean, there's so much to it. And the insurance company says, okay, here's 6 days.
Right.
And you get on the peer reviews all the time and they get denied. And it's got to break your heart. Someone with 8 diagnoses that only got 20 days and they're telling him, oh, he's ready to go.
Right.
And you're fighting for it. So what's that like?
It's difficult, right? And knowing that we have such a limited time. But I think when being a psychologist coming into it, we know that the individuals we're working with, they have to be ready for the change. And so usually everybody is at a different place. Right. And I know that our program is, you know, developed with evidence-based treatment, modalities, the groups, the individual, everything like that. So we're giving above and beyond. And so it's really up to, and I think when I sit with the individuals, right, it's what they want to take out of it. So it's like if I offer you a bowl with 100 grapes, right, for the 30 days, you have all that, but you might end up just eating 10 of them. But we know that we're providing everything that we can. and they have to take from it what they want, right? When they're in group, they need to be paying attention. When they're an individual. So I just sat with somebody and I just tell them, hey, look, we have a very short time here. So I'm not going to be lightly talking about things. I'm going to confront them immediately, day one that I meet them.
Yeah.
And so there's no dancing around, saying things. You just have to meet them head on. And I preempt it with, you may not like me. I don't even want you to like me because I'm going to be confrontational. You might be saying something and I'm just going to say, well, it sounds like you're not ready. And they might want to argue or be in denial. And then I might say, it sounds like you're in denial about it. But I think because we have that in mind, that they have such a short time, and we're reminding them that this is the beginning of their journey, right? And the idea that they think that in 30 days that they're going to be healed and recovered, something that they've been suffering with for years, if not decades, it's not possible, right? And so that we don't want them to leave with this overconfidence. And some people do. Yeah. Some people do. But, I gently or very strongly remind them, very strongly, that that's a great plan, but I'm going to tell you the pitfalls of that.
Sure.
And you might not want to hear it. So, we give them everything that we can, and they take what they want from it, right?
Otherwise, we'd be like Oprah. You get recovery. I'm standing at QT on 23rd and Northern, just everybody gets recovery on everybody.
Right.
I love your delivery, Dr. Nguyen.
Thank you.
You're good. You are really good. You're one of the best I've ever seen. Seriously, I'm not talking any shit.
You're not getting fired. Don't worry.
All right.
No.
Subpar at best. Okay. But Ron, what's your thoughts on that 30 days? Because Ron plays a very critical role at Desert Recovery Centers with the clinical quarterbacking, with the documentation, with the compliance, with the oversight, with the training, with all the things. And so you see every piece of documentation that comes through. What's it like in the 30 days trying to keep everybody on track, trying to make sure that we get as much as we can done? I love how Dr. Nguyen presented that because we give it all to them, but they have to do it, right? So what's that like for you on your end, your experience?
Sure. For me, I use a similar analogy that all of us in 30 days, our job and our responsibility is to run around and open up all these doors of possibility. We open the doors. We give the guidance of what's behind these doors. And the clients will walk up to them, and some will walk through them. Some will peek in there, and they might look a little bit, and it's up to them what path they choose, right? And we always tried, the evidence-based therapy is where it's at. I've never been involved, in my time where everything is evidence-based on what we do. It's not...
We have curriculum.
Yeah,
approved,
it's
Dr.
not.
Nguyen, CBT, DBT, all motivational interviewing, all of it.
Right, and then what happens next? Because I know that the seeds get planted from day one of what's going to happen after this 30 days because it's such a short period of time, and that's the beautiful thing. Spoiler alert: that we're working towards having the next level of care, right? So they can continue the evidence-based therapy with our clinical psychologists, right? That they can still experience the holistic approach that we provide because there is no other programs like us right now. There's some that are similar. So now the transition from 30 days, now we could possibly have somebody in our care for up to 6 months, right? And having our own clinic, an own PHP, where for the individuals to continue the work that we've started in 30 days, and they can walk through more of those doors. That's kind of how I look at it. And, we have to put a lot into that 30 days to provide for them. And I don't think that there's any other team that I know of. You and I are pretty in tune with behavioral health in Phoenix. And obviously people are going to say, oh, he's saying that because he works there. And I don't think there's another team that could pull it off the way we pull it off. We have so many moving parts going at once. And the thing that I love is for the clinical team, you all don't know any different. This is what you know. This is your first experience with residentials, right? So we just keep putting more and more and more. And there's a lot. And, I'm running out of room. Yeah. But, Kipu is open so much.
You got it open right now, brother?
I do. It's open over here somewhere.
Just making sure.
And I just think we're going to continue to elevate and be guided. We are 100%. People may say this, but I can with all confidence, we are clinically guided, peer-driven program. There is that push-pull that we have with clinical and the peer. And I've never been involved in a company where, because usually clinical will try to swallow the peer side of it and be like, mind your P's and Q's, you're going to do what we say and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, do rounds and shut up.
Yeah, do the round and be quiet. But that's not the way it is here. It's this push-pull to where the clinical team, we're guided clinically and we stay in bounds. And now we have JCO to keep us in bounds. And the peer that will follow through and be an extension of the clinical and the medical team. So when you have that perfect push-pull going on, it will produce some outcomes.
And it has produced a lot of outcomes. And right now, if we can stabilize them and they stay the first 72 hours, we're graduating at a 95% rate.
Come on now.
We don't lose them, right? Because we're providing everything. And most importantly, we're showing them that we love them. And I love, you said this, and I stole it from you, and I tell every single client that comes through the doors, I tell them, look, I don't know how this is going to play out, but there's one thing that I know for sure. Desert Recovery Centers is going to be by your side the whole entire time, and we'll never give up on you or judge you. And that I know for certain. And what you do from here is up to you, but we're going to provide it all for you.
Sure.
So Dr. Nguyen, I know you have a private practice, a whole bunch of other things going on. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden now we meet with a partner, we go to dinner, we're building a business. We all of a sudden decide we're going to do 3 locations at once, right? And you see the team, you're like, okay, they got hard, thank God. Okay. And you see us, you're like, okay, misfits, but okay. Jason says they're the fucking mom. Okay. All right. And then we pull it off and we start to do all of it. And then we realize, how to raise the bar through documentation, through client care, through client advocacy, through our documentation, through speaking with the problem. So what was that transition like? Because you had a private practice where you're the boss, you just document. Like, this is what it is. This is what I saw. This is my observations. This is my opinion. This is my diagnosis. And I could be all wrong. I'm just freestyling, right? But now we jump into RTC, private insurance, residential, right? And we're out of network. So that means that we got to dot our I's and cross our T's. So what was that transition like? Because I know the transition happened fast because you and your team are phenomenal. But it was a transition, right?
Oh yeah, it definitely was. And I think, in our business as being psychologists or working, we're always talking about who is our referral source, right? And so that's kind of like a technical term. But, for example, if I'm doing an evaluation or an assessment for a school or for the state or for the VA, you want to know who you're writing to and who is going to be reading that information. So I've learned, many, many years ago that you have to change accordingly. So it was a learning curve for sure. I had to do some consultation, reaching out because, I think it's dangerous just to think that you know how to do it, right? And I would never say that I know how to do it all, right? And so, there was absolutely a lot of learning about medical necessity, changing the verbiage because, a lot of my background, I really lean towards a lot of positive psychology, right? Mm-hmm. We don't want to really talk so heavily and focus on the psychopathology, meaning, I guess if I were to use layman terms, more of the negative, right? Yeah. All the symptomology or diagnosing you and talking about all the things that are going wrong with you. That's positive psychology wants to focus on more strengths. But I have recognized that when working with, in residential treatment and with private insurance, you really have to highlight all the things that are going wrong, right? And the moment, someone is making a little progress, meaning they stayed awake in group, you want to use these flowery words like Ron did so great in group today, he engaged.
Was engaged.
But that will be misinterpreted by the people who.
Yeah, if he's so engaged, then let's get him over to IOP.
Get him out, right. So we definitely had to pivot and change, the language, but that doesn't change. It just means that we're trying to express to the reader, right, to the person who's looking at it,
referral source,
that they need more time, they need more stabilization, they need more treatment, right? And I think, that could be a whole nother podcast. That they have to know that people can't be. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They cannot be
It
healed.
blows my mind.
It
breaks my heart. To be honest, I will literally start crying when I start talking to the clients about it because and I'll tell you the transition was pretty damn fast. Right. What do you think? Because Ron saw all the documentation. I mean, within 2 weeks, the clinical team was on speed with what we needed.
Yeah. And I must say, and we did all this with new child.
That is true. I did have to come out of my maternity leave a little earlier. Because, I think, when you try to plan things, I think we were supposed to be open. DRC was supposed to be open before.
June.
But then It wanted to open the day I had a baby.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah.
God works things out for you. No, I remember that. It was very hazy, but I did. Yeah,
But you did all that. I mean,
One day home with child. Hey, I need you to sign these notes real
Yes.
quick, Dr.
Yeah.
Nguyen.
but
I
it
remember.
was just amazing to see, you know, from what we've had experience with other clinical teams, just to get together, work together, inspire each other, learn from each other, take suggestions from people that don't have degrees, you know, and just really work together to try to figure out the best way to have the top-notch client care. But every journey starts somewhere, Dr. Nguyen, and I know you got a passion for this.
Let's go.
Shout out Glendale. Are you from Maryvale?
No.
Grondell?
I was born in Glendale and raised in Glendale.
Okay, not like, where'd you used to live, Ron?
But I know a lot of people from.
Where'd you
I
used to
know a lot
live?
of people from
59 to what?
Maryvale.
Oh,
Northern 59, La Padera Park.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
all I
La
gotta
Padera.
say. Shout out La
I know
Padera.
that.
home, 43rd
Oh, you know,
Avenue.
yeah, she knows where that
Oh, I
is.
know that.
That's why I had a whole list of things I wanted to talk
Used
about.
to play soccer there as a kid.
I did, brother. Scored a lot of goals at La Padera. Yeah,
Padera.
just picked up crack there 15 years later. Just kidding, Mom.
No, he's not.
But Ron, dude, when we think about the passion, when we think about her enthusiasm, when we think about all that, and being from Glendale and going to Bourgade private school, girl. Oh, Ron, say no more. We already know what time it is, dude. We've been down there. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So you grew up big family, right? So you want to share a little bit about big family, going to Bourgade, any of those things that stick out to you? Is there anything you really want to share about that?
Yeah, sure. My parents were refugees, escaped from Vietnam because of the Vietnam War and all that. So I think growing up here, it was always very much, we knew the opportunity, right? We don't want to waste any opportunity. Our parents would tell us often that we have to work hard all the time, school, whatever it may be. But also my parents are very, I don't know how to say it, very loving, very open people, So when we were growing up, our doors were always open to everybody.
Well, you
really.
know that I grew up with Ty and
yeah,
John, and we were neighbors.
Oh,
we
yes,
literally
yes, I
grew up
remember that.
together. Went to grade school together, kindergarten through eighth
Yeah.
grade, all the things.
Right.
So I used to go over to the house too,
I'm sure you did.
on the front side
Yeah.
over there. First right.
First right. Oh, right off.
First right, huh?
Yes,
Okay, I
yeah.
remember. So you go to Bourgade, and I love what you talked about because you talked about the discipline. You talked about, and that's what makes us, such a great team is that lived experience because we've been on the other side of things. That's the same thing with your parents. They struggled and they get here with an opportunity and they're telling the kids the right thing. Like, let's work hard. Let's be successful. This is an opportunity to be somewhere where you have the ability to achieve anything you want to achieve. So, you listen to your dad.
Oh,
Did
yes.
you listen to your dad all the time?
No, most of the time. I lied a lot to my dad.
Okay, well, don't we all?
But I listened. most of the time.
And so
You could do both. You could listen and lie.
somehow, Ron, I don't even know how she did this shit. I think I have to fact check. Matt, I need a fact check. Okay. She went to high school and college at the same time, got
Come
a
on,
degree. How
let's
did you do that? Share about that. I know you don't want to talk about it. You didn't want to bring it up, but here we are.
After school would be out, I would take classes either after or a lot in the summer. I would take a lot of classes in the summer, but I remember I played sports, so I played volleyball, but then I would have to skip out on some things because I had classes. And then in the summer, I would have to take a lot of classes, or I would bring my homework to school probably, I remember. But it was always that way. Even when I was in grade school, my dad would give us homework. And so in class, I remember I would be working on my dad's homework, and the teacher would be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I have to finish this." My dad will be really mad if I don't do his homework.
Dude, shout out to your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, big shout out to Pops. And so after high school, you've already graduated with an AA, and then you go to ASU, number one party school. What was that like? Did you ever do a keg stand, Dr. Nguyen?
I have never.
Really?
I'm not a keg stand. Because, I'm a little allergic to beer. They used to call me 2-beer Annie. But I've never even had 2 beers. Because if I have a sip, I black out. I pass out.
You know
Oh,
what?
geez.
I'm going to ask you a term. Do you know what that's called?
No.
It's called reverse tolerance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know that.
Okay.
Yeah, write that down.
Yes.
Okay. And so you end up going to ASU. So you go to ASU and you get a degree there as well. And then you get into teaching. So can you talk about that transition from ASU to teaching? And then while you're teaching, you're also going now to get your master's. Is that the same time? Can you just share what that time period was like, what grade you taught, and the fake ID you used?
Well, yeah. All that together.
Yeah.
Well, because I graduated early and then I went into the teaching program at ASU West, that was a 1-year program. So then I even graduated earlier So I believe
You
I
didn't have a
started.
license yet, right?
No, I did.
No, okay.
I started teaching when I was 20. So yes, there
Wow.
were times that I did go out to these clubs where I should not be drinking, but I probably was drinking and blacking out. And I remember using a fake ID and I got caught.
Beer Annie.
I got caught. And I remember I almost didn't make it to teach. Like, I hope the students don't hear, the students I used to teach don't hear this.
You did
but
7th grade, right?
I did, 7th grade. I really,
See,
man.
I listened to you. You
Yeah.
told me that a while ago.
Yeah, I really enjoyed,
attention.
they are just a lot of fun that age. I mean, they're kind of,
They're getting squirrely.
yes.
They're just barely
but they're
starting
fun.
to get squirrely.
Yes.
And so, but all your dad, extracurricular homework, going and getting your degree while you're in high school, and then you get a job making $35K. How does Pops feel about that?
Well, yeah, they were not very happy that I chose to be a teacher, But the funny thing is, my dad was also a teacher when he was in Vietnam, so he
really?
knows.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But of course, when they came here, they want us to be
Yeah, you guys, let's
something.
ball. Let's
Yeah,
ball.
got to do something more than them, supposedly. But yeah, they weren't happy about it, but they said, okay, we'll let you do it for a little bit,
But
let me.
remember, you're going to be a
Yes,
doctor. You
right.
better get your schooling done. We'll let you masquerade as a teacher for a couple years,
Yes.
get your feet wet, but you know what time it is.
That was kind of just like that.
Just like that, right? So while you're teaching, you're in NAU master's program, right?
Correct. Yeah, the long distance.
She's
they had a
good
long
at
distance one.
correspondence programming.
Yeah.
And there wasn't ChatGPT or AI during those
No,
times, so
there
I'll give you
wasn't.
your shout out.
No,
I'll
there
give you your
wasn't.
respect. This goes to all the students out there. I coach club soccer. I told all the girls are 13, 14. I said, look, there is no damn excuse for you girls to not ace everything that you do with AI, all the things. You should be phenomenal at everything you do. No excuse. You got Google, you got all the stuff. I hear my daughter in there. She's just talking to text her all of her questions. I just hear her reading them into the phone. Hey, she's smart, right? Straight A's.
Resources.
And so ultimately you become a doctor, right? You end up going to get your master's, then you go to the doctorate program and you do all the things that you need to do, postdoc, what practicum, whatever it's called, all this stuff. And then you're anointed. Dr. Nguyen. What did Dad say about that?
Everybody was really excited. Really, really excited. I remember.
But he was very proud.
Yes.
And
Very
then he
proud.
said, all right, Dr. Nguyen, now it's time to start your own practice. And you immediately start your own practice.
I did. Yeah. I was, luckily I had worked with the psychologist before and he was so gracious, joined his practice and then my practice within his practice. But, you could do, but it was really nice. I think in our field of psychology, we're a lot, not everybody, but most people really are open and giving back, right? So even now I do a lot of consultation with other psychologists that, if they want to open up their own private practice, or I encourage them to, because there's a lot of business out there. There's nothing to be hiding or withholding. So I believe working for yourself is probably the best way to go most of the time.
Most of the time. Most of the time, and what we've been able to do together as a team over the last, almost 11 months, almost 12 months. I mean, to do joint commission in-house with just us four with Ash and the team, of course, at every location, to have 12 infractions out of 2,000, to do a plan of corrections, to get it in 15 minutes because it was tight like that. And we had all this stuff and the report was excellent. And that's just such a kudos to the team, the evolution and like we talked about, there was a learning curve for all of us. We had never done this before.
Right.
But we knew that we wanted to raise the bar. We knew that we wanted to have the highest level of client care. And Ron, I want you just to speak about that for a second. Having the highest level of care, the things that we do. I want you to share on raising the bar because you're continuously raising the bar for our company.
Sure. Yeah. And this is the philosophy I've adopted through the recovery process for myself, just in recovery, right? And then I've adopted into business, into my career. Number one, I never, when I first got sober almost 11 years ago, I never thought beyond my wildest dreams that this is the trajectory that I would be on. No way in a million years. To be able to be in a room with talented, charismatic, motivated, driven individuals and be able to be part of that team, number one, is just so humbling to me, and it keeps me hungry, and why I spend hours and hours studying and learning and reading, and everything that I input in here, I try it to be something that I can use in my career and in work. something positive, self-help. But when I first got sober, I used to tell people on the yard, you know, because I was sponsoring everybody, and they had all these we all have problems when we first get sober. And I would tell them, if you focus 100% of your energy on getting sober, all the other stuff will organically come along. Some family will come back, some won't. Their jobs, your financial situation will automatically change. You know, you'll all of a sudden start to have food in your locker, you know, because I was in prison at this time. Yeah, all this stuff will start to happen if you focus all your energy on being sober. So I've adopted that over the last 11 years, and it's worked for me. And everything has come along organically. Now in my career, I focus 100%, and I tell all of our staff, no matter what Dr. Nguyen, and we're putting new systems in place, and what Jason is telling you and what I'm telling you, if you take all that and you focus your energy on that client at that moment, and 100% of your energy is about what's best for that client, not what's best for you, not what's going to make it easier for you at that moment, but what is the best for that client at that time. When you can do that, and you do that through your documentation, because it is the most important part of this job. Listen, we can have all the evidence-based treatment in the world, and we can have the delivery systems of it like we do from amazing people. We can have the best medical care, which we do, the nursing staff. But if we don't properly document that journey, it never happened. And we're never going to be able to advocate to help these clients, because the reality is, in this system, in this world, they don't want to pay for the help that is much needed for these clients. And you know, the numbers, I could just make some numbers up on the fly, but I'm not gonna. Mental health has come to the forefront during this fentanyl epidemic. Because you have the people that are addicted to fentanyl, and then you have all the individuals that are affected by the loved ones of the fentanyl. And it's all mental health. And that's why I love what you said, that the psychology is psychologists are a community, and you try to help each other and encourage people to open more practices, to provide more services so that we can help. And that's what we're doing here at Desert Recovery Centers. And I'm just, you know, I got to pinch myself sometimes. I can't believe
call
this
me,
is
you're like, dude, this is awesome.
Dude, I can't believe this is like even happening. Like back in the day when he, on the last podcast, he talked about, everyone knows the sober Ron. You know, there's not many people alive still that know me from active addiction. He's probably one of the only ones. But, you know, back in the day, you would see somebody like me, like you'd be coming out of a grocery store, and I'd be going in the grocery store to steal all the meat, and I'd be all crazy haired and beard all crazy, and you would do the Heisman, grab your purse and pull it in tight and make it for the door, because I was a scary monster, right? And now here I am. I got to pinch myself that God has transformed me, and he has guided me and brought me to this point in my life. And every day when I wake up, this is all brand new to me, and I get to do it with amazing people. And I just don't know, and I know you have a hard time hearing this sometimes, but the effect that personally you've had on me, it makes me want to be better for the clients. It makes me want to be better for my family. You know, it makes me, I want to go back to school. I want to go to college. I want to get my degree. I want to finish my degree.
He was just talking about that. I was like, when are you going to work and do that? How are you gonna do that?
And you even that you told me, because I've talked to you about it, and I've talked to Dr. Day about it, and Dr. Wheeler, and you told me something. You were like, "That's great, and if you want to do that, that's great." But she said something to me that went right through me. She said, "You don't have to do that here at Desert Recovery Centers. You're already doing it." And like just that alone is, we bring that to the client, like that. That is what I bring to the staff. That's what the messaging I want to bring to the clients, that you can do or be anything that you want to be with the right mindset. It's all about the mindset and putting in the work. It's hard work.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Very
you do
hard.
like I know that we work a lot. You work a lot. Like Like when do you, I mean, I know about maybe I shouldn't say I know about the cave. Is that your little hiding place where you can get a little break? You know, when we first started doing this, you'd be in the cave and you'd be giving me guidance or asking me questions and hear the little baby in the background. And you're like, oh, it's okay. I'm in the cave. And, but you like, do you sleep?
You know, I do sleep, not enough. I'm looking forward to getting more sleep.
Okay.
You know, but I can't sleep because you guys don't sleep. So I know, like, if you're texting me, I have to
4 a.m.
respond.
we
Yeah.
start sending text
4
messages at
a.m.,
4
like-
a.m.
and then if I don't get it, I'm like, wow, is Ron sleeping in today? Or it's 4:52 and I have not heard. I don't care if it's a Saturday. He hasn't texted me. But yeah.
But I also, you know, Ron said something, you know, because one of the things I wanted to ask you, it just kind of it made me think about it, you know, because we have such a short period of time, we offer 2 trauma sessions a week, right? And you know you only got 30 days, and you know that you maybe got 8 sessions or however many sessions. How do you get through to a client that doesn't want to talk to you? What do you do? Like, what are they just like? Because I see some of these clients, and I try to get through. I teach groups. We have our clinical director, clinical psychologist extraordinaire, does group, dude. 3 times a week she's teaching group, dude.
Unheard of.
We have doctors facilitating groups, dude.
Unheard of.
It's unheard of.
Lysacs.
So yeah, Lysacs that come in and facilitate groups on multiple different days. We truly have professionals involved in your care. But Dr. What do you do when they don't want to talk to you? How do you get through to them?
Well, I'll tell you the secret. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Ready? Everybody's ready?
Yeah.
You just meet them where they're at. You know, so a lot of times I have to remind myself and, you know, other postdocs, psychologists, whoever I'm supervising, right? If you're doing more work, if I'm pulling you and I'm dragging you, that's not good, right? Because the honest truth is that when people want to change, that's when they can make change. And so I like, you know, and sometimes people will give me all this kudos. Oh, Dr. Nguyen, you're so amazing. You're so wonderful. But the truth is I know that I'm not doing the heavy lifting. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not doing the work because I might confront you with something, but you have to be the one that's open and ready to learn, being open to accepting the information and being aware that this is happening or not. So a lot of times if somebody calls me and they're really frustrated, right? Oh, I'm working with Jason. I'm so frustrated. He doesn't get this. I say, let's just take a deep breath. And you have to meet him where he's at. And sometimes when you meet them where you're at, or if I sit with you and I just say, yeah, it would be really nice if you could just grab a drink right now. I know you don't want to be here, right? Because then it lets them, with their own autonomy, to say, well, yeah, I feel all that.
Yeah.
But then I want to make the change. Because pulling someone, dragging them, like forcing them, trying to motivate them into changing doesn't always work, right? They have to be ready. And so when we go back to talking about how there's people in the house, we give them 100 grapes and they take what they want, right? Some people will take 88 of them, right? Because they're there and they're ready. Some people can only take 2. And the best part about that is we are a judgment-free zone, right? I'm not going to judge you that you're not ready. So when I sit with clients and they talk about their relapse prevention or when they want to leave and they're still saying, well, yeah, but I'm still going to drink a little bit, right? Or I'm still going to smoke a little bit. I'm still going to do this and this. You know, I can't be like berating them and yelling at them. Why would you do that? You have to be 100%. Okay, well, how is this going to work for you? Let's talk this out,
Let's talk
right?
about the plan.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get drunk today, then what?
Right.
And that's what I tell them.
Right, yeah.
That's the same thing when I'm talking to clients that are feeling friskier. I'm just like, cool, the door is unlocked.
Right.
Like you're not here against your will. We love you and we care about you, and that's why we're talking to you, not because we're trying to do this or
Yeah.
it's because we don't want to see you die.
Right.
Right?
No, yeah.
So again, you're acting like you got options. So what are they? Like, let's look this through, because most likely in 48 hours, I'm going to have to make a decision if I want to bring you back again. Right. And we will, because we care. Right. And we understand, because we weren't ready for 20 years. I sat in front of a psychologist. My parents tried everything to do, and I just wasn't ready. Right. And so usually when I would see a counselor or a psychologist, I would end up leaving with a script for like Adderall and Xanax, and they'd be like, "You got a good kid. He's a pretty good kid." You know, my dad's like, "Oh, you he lied to you.
You didn't see through his lies.
Yeah, he's great. Not
He's great, all right.
What I wanted to ask you though is, where your passion comes to do this, because typically, like, you're a doctor, right? So you can have financial freedom and pursue a passion, right? But typically, for our staff, right, or I'm just saying, Desert Recovery is on the higher end. Let's just say that we are. But typically as a BHT, I started out at 1650, right? And I almost lost my goddamn mind, right? Excuse me, what'd you say? I don't even know what that means. What? Right? Am I still on the yard? Is this ACI job? Like, what's going on here? Right? But I humbled myself and I learned the business. But normally we got to sacrifice finances because we have such a passion to help, right? And it helps us so much being in recovery. Desert Recovery Centers, the goal of it was to provide the best client care, incorporate as many professionals in a safe, serene, in a sanctuary, a refuge, a safe place. And that's what we've done. And we've given our staff the ability to be able to have finances as well as pursue a passion. But where does your passion come through? Because you could have been a doctor in anything, right? Like you could have been a doctor of whatever. I mean, you were a doctor in high school?
No, I was not.
Not yet. You could have been, but there wasn't enough summers.
There wasn't. You're right. That's why.
So where does the passion come from? Because it shines through. I know every listener. She's good, dude. She's just good. She's got great delivery. She's got good humor. She's funny.
Yeah.
She's really good at what she does. But where does the passion come from?
I think I had to say it's more than probably from my parents, growing up and seeing them always being open and ready to taking care of other people, right? My parents are very humble people. I didn't see them
Foster kids too?
Yeah, they always took in foster kids. I think Ron has said I have uncles that I didn't know weren't related to me because they was somebody homeless that my parents just took in. So I think we were always exposed to that, right? Like not looking at people and judging them or being scared of them, right? I mean, we might have been scared of Ron back then, running. But I don't know. I don't know what my mom may not have been scared of him. She might have said, "Come home, I'll cook that meat for you." So I think that's kind of what. Growing up, it's always been that way, right? My parents expected us to be successful, but also to always be helping people. So it has to go hand in hand. They want you to be successful, but you can't just be doing it just for the money, So
Sure.
that and always, I think, even in teaching, or I always knew that I was going to be a psychologist. I just wanted to do the teaching a little bit first because I like that. But as a psychologist, we're teaching all the time anyhow, right? And then the field of psychology is learning about, yourself and learning about other people and how they operate, family systems, the dynamics of other individuals, and just working out what's going on. Why are they this way or what's going on with them? So when I was growing up, we have a very large family. So we had a lot of different family members, friends that had struggled with a lot of different things, So personally, in our own family, my brother has struggled with addiction for many years.
Yeah.
And sometimes people ask, "Oh, did you think that you became a psychologist to kind of save him?" And I think about that sometimes, and I think, maybe I wanted
That's
to.
part of it, yeah.
But I honestly think that it just helped me understand him more, right? Because, as families, when we do family sessions and we meet with people, it's a lot of they don't care about us, they don't love us. If you did love us, you would stop, right?
Yeah.
And so in understanding addiction, it doesn't work like that, right? And so I think when I was starting school and then with my brother, it just helped me understand him, which in turn, I could help my parents understand him, our other siblings work with him, And of course, because I'm the clinical director of DRC, I'm not just saying this, but, we are always in a fight to provide the best service, right? Gender-specific locations, evidence-based. And I really believe, I think about this often, if my brother, had somewhere like DRC, maybe when he was younger or multiple times, or had come across people like Ron, Johnny, Emmett, you, yourself, people, because unfortunately in the industry, and I say that industry of recovery, we've sent him to rehab. I've sent him to rehab. And back then I didn't know better, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what is good treatment.
You don't know,
because you just think that that's what they're providing you.
Sure.
And myself becoming a psychologist, now I understand evidence-based treatment.
Mandatory.
Right? Yeah, I understand why gender-specific locations are necessary, right? And then, of course, the passion and being able to meet people who really care. And so I remember talking about that, saying that if my brother had been able to go to treatment at somewhere like DRC or run into one of you all, I think his life probably would have been different.
Yeah, thank you for that. But it's connection.
Yeah.
And that's really
We're
all
connectors.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what we do. And one of the biggest things is really thinking about when we have the clinical team, right? Because we have the clinical team that's facilitating groups and then working together, and then we have the BHTs, and we got this whole cohesive system that's working towards providing the best client care. But what, Dr. Nguyen, what when you look at our body of work right now, and we're coming up on a year, and Ron, you can answer this question too, right? When we're approaching a year, 3 locations, we got 30 beds, 26 clients right now. I think we graduated 2 or 3 this morning. Maybe we're down to like 23, whatever. It doesn't matter. But when you think about that, where can we improve? Like, what do you think now is the next phase for us, client care? Is there an area? Because I think we're doing a pretty damn good job. And we address things immediately. We put a SOP, put it in the PMP. We do the training on it. We roll it out. But what do you think that we can do better?
Oh, there's so many areas we can do.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
You're right. Yeah.
Well, I think 2 things
Training?
can be true. 2 things can be true. We're doing an incredible job, right? I think as a whole, everybody at DRC, we're doing incredible. The work, the treatment that we're providing. But I think for myself, getting comfortable is a problem, right? If you're not constantly looking at where you can be doing better, what you can be doing better, right? So I think even when I'm meeting with Dr. Day, Dr. Wheeler, we discuss it. I'll say, how is this working out? Like even right now with our workbooks, I'll be very honest. They need to be revamped because now that I'm running group more, I'm like,
hold up.
Yeah, exactly. And even though I developed those workbooks, right, put them together, but now I can see, maybe we should put in
a working motion.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so I think all of us have this open mind, you guys both included, that we can see where we're doing well, but we're always looking for that other side of what else could we be doing better. So of course with our groups, right, and I think some of our schedules, and I think I've talked about this with Ron, some of the schedules, we want the clients to have free time, but then sometimes they're having too much free time. Making sure the ancillary services are always there, and if they're,
not
life
there,
happens.
then you
if they're
better
not,
do a group.
If they're not there, then we need to make sure that that's going to be filled in. So I think I appreciate that we can enjoy that we're doing well, but always be looking, and not in such a critical manner, but in just that knowing that we have to do more always, right, and not being complacent with where we're at.
Yeah, so. I love that. I mean, more, dude.
Yeah, me too. I just want to say this, and this, you might laugh at this. I think you might. So 2 things can be true. You told me that about 6 months ago. It's the first time I heard you say it, right? So now when I get in fights with my partner,
all the time,
and we have different opinions,
please don't bring me into your arguments.
I get a calendar invite, Ron and Lanny.
I say, Lanny, 2 things can be true. Where did you hear that? I said, well, Dr. Nguyen. She goes, I love Dr. Nguyen. And then the fight is over.
Yeah.
And then the
that's how disarming she is.
Yeah, 2 things can be true. And, I'm going to answer that question too. And I know, the team's going to be listening to this and they're going to go, freaking Ron. I believe we're working towards it. I know you and I were talking a lot about it. In my mind, in my world, from the minute the client, because we only have 30 days, we have a very limited time when we're opening all these doors and putting the bowl of grapes out there. I believe from the minute a client opens their eyes at Desert Recovery Centers to the minute they close their eyes and go to bed, I want something available for them to do. We've talked about this. We have the rough draft of how we want to do it, of in between the ancillary services. And when the ancillary services are not there, that it's just automatic that there's a piece of programming that we can add in. May it be art therapy, music therapy, nature hikes. We have beautiful properties by the mountain. Being able to have, now we have an, I don't want to say an abundance of staff, but we have a lot more staff than we did before. So we'll be able to do those things because it takes the team to do that. And ideally what I want, because I never want to hear the complaint from a client is that I'm bored or there's nothing to do. Yep. I don't ever want to hear that. And I believe that we are on the path of that from the minute they open their eyes to the minute they go to bed. We want them engaged with something therapeutic. So ideally moving forward, our 3 residentials, that's what I want to see. And I know it's a lot of work and I know it's a lot of documentation, but we have the team to do it and pull it off, and we have the right person to help us get organized. And the one thing I let all the staff know, because when they complain, this is a lot of documentation. Okay, I understand. I hear you. But there's one thing that he will never, ever redirect me on. And that's, he's never going to say to me, hey, bro, I think they're doing too much documentation. He will never tell me that.
Never, yeah.
Never.
He will never tell me that because that's how we're going to help the client, is to provide those bowls of grapes and then be able to execute. So ideally, that's where I think we can improve.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I love it because we're constantly, and if you look at it, and that was what was awesome about Joint Commission and us four doing it with Ash. Shout out to my wife. But sitting there with her for 3 days and learning, dude. I mean, learning a whole lot. But
She was really good.
she was
Oh yeah,
excellent.
that app she offered, I had downloaded it. I've already used it several times.
Right.
Yeah,
It's an
shout out
amazing
Miss
app,
Khan.
yeah.
Shout out Julie.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was awesome, dude.
She
She
was.
educated us. But what I loved the most was being able to sit there with her and walk through the transition, the evolution of the company. Because that's what we've done from the very beginning. Okay, here's a target area we can improve on. Let's improve on that. There's another target area. Let's improve on the documentation. Let's add this group. Let's bring in this ancillary service. Let's bring in this professional staff member. Let's extend this group time. Let's do evidence-based treatment more, right? All these things, dude, have continuously came, and we've continuously been improving the whole time. That's why I asked the question, like, what are we going to improve on next, right? Like, what's the next area that we can improve on? Because we want to continuously raise the bar in the industry, and we are. I mean, it's just the facts. We are. And we want to do that because people are dying every single day, every 4 minutes from fentanyl. So we want to be responsible and we want to have our hand out. No matter what, we will be there to help you. And that's what it looks like. Dr. Nguyen, earmuffs. We did probably 20 scholarships.
I've been counting. I have a sheet. No kidding.
Because we have the heart, dude. And if we have a bad man, it's hard for me to say no, right? And you got that willingness. And so when I look at all that put together and see the evolution and to see Joint Commission give us our kudos and give us our certification, it just solidified, our body of work and the improvements that we've done and the continuous quality improvement. And I couldn't be happier, to build this thing with you guys, to figure it out with you guys, because I'm learning every single day. And I'm not afraid to say I don't know. I need to do some research. I'm not sure. Let me check that out. And because we all have that heart and we're humble as best we can be, I'm talking to myself.
As best as you can be.
As best as I can be, right? I always got to remember that I am learning, and every single day it's my job to learn more. And being surrounded with individuals like you and everyone that I was able to meet with the Nguyen family and just everything we've been through, it's just really elevated our game, dude. Like, are you on Kipu right now, brother?
No, I'm not on Kipu, but I just want to say this. Speaking to the mental health crisis that we're facing in this country. One death every 11 minutes from untreated mental health.
Yeah. Well, and I think when we had started DRC, that was one of the main things we discussed was, our treatment center is mental health primary.
Yes, we are.
Right? And so how many times, like even for, let's say, people that I know, my brother, we didn't know the difference, right? It's just, for substance use. But the substance use is a symptom of, right? A symptom of something else. And so a lot of times, when I'm running group and we're talking about CBT things, and the other day, somebody in group, and they'd been in and out of treatment. I swear it had been like 3 or 4 times. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking the things that I'm presenting are so simple and basic, right? About CBT. And I shouldn't think that. You must have
heard this a million times.
Yeah, I don't want to be redundant, and I'm just going to kind of, and he was kind of like, oh, I had never heard, yes. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's like, to me, because, and I don't want to say that, but I've learned, I know it inside out.
I told you, I remember,
right.
I remember sitting there telling you, I'm like, nobody does that in the industry. You're like, what?
Yeah, and it was a shock to me.
I'm like,
because
no, they don't have any, they just don't. They
No,
don't
it's
have
all
any.
hocus pocus.
Yeah.
And so that's what I love is we've been able to incorporate professionals. We've been able to do it together as a team, and every single one of us plays an extremely big role in what we've been able to do. Getting Joint Commission, clearing audits that just come with the name of the game. We've been able to clear it through our documentation, multiple ADHS audits, multiple surveys, that just comes with the game. If you look it up, we've no infractions. I mean, we've really just done a phenomenal job across the board because compliance is number one and documentation is everything. And we got a team with a servant heart. And the crazy part about it all is we're just getting warmed up. Something about 50, I don't even want to say it. Something about 50 beds and in networks and out of networks and IOPs and coordination of care. I just want everyone to stay tuned because Desert Recovery Centers is here to help everybody. And that's what we're here to do. And we want to do it the right way. Dr. Nguyen, it's been amazing to have you on the show. It was super painless.
Yes, super painless.
I surprised you with it and all, right? Super mysterious. There's a lot of things we didn't talk about. I crossed them off the list.
Oh,
Matt,
thank you.
Crossed them off the list. I'm only kidding, or am I? But the most important part
That'll be
is
part 2.
Yeah, part two. That'll be part 2. But most importantly, Ron, where can they find us?
They can find us on Instagram, Desert Recovery Centers. But more importantly, you can go to our beautiful website, desertrecoverycenters.com. You can go there. You can look at our facilities. Dr. Nguyen is on there.
Yeah.
She's got a couple videos
You
on
can
there.
actually do a VOB right from the website.
Yeah, you can.
Verification of benefits. We can get you right in.
Yeah, you can connect with our admissions team. Facebook, Jason and Sarah. TikTok, Ronnie. No matter what, it doesn't matter what your situation is. If you want help and you need help, please reach out to Desert Recovery Centers. Reach out to Jason, myself. We'll get you going in the right direction, and we'll find the right program for you. Don't suffer in silence. You don't have to suffer anymore. You're not alone. You matter, and you're valuable.
Yeah, Ron, and I love you saying that because I don't care what. I don't want anyone to think, oh, look at these houses. Oh, I can't. If you need help, just call us because our team will find you help. We will help you, whether it's us. We will send you, if we have to send you to a different location. We've been there. We've toured it. We know the staff. We know the type of care, right? We're going to put you in a safe place. All you got to do is pick up the phone and call us and we'll help you because that's truly what we do. So look us up, desertrecoverycenters.com, Desert Recovery Centers on Instagram, Facebook.
Also let everybody know that, if they need, if family members want a consultation, right? They can reach out, talk to myself or Dr. Day, Dr. Wheeler to see if it's the right place for them or for their loved ones.
Yeah, and
right.
come
And
out,
we've
do a
done that
tour.
before.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we've done that before where we just, want to see if it's a good fit.
Yeah. If
right?
you're a family member trying to figure out help,
Yeah.
just give us a call. We'll let you know. We'll give you some honest information about what we do, how we do it, and what it looks like to get your loved one help. So please reach out to us. Shout out to all our fans all over the world, 30 plus countries, all the things. We're super grateful for everyone, all the comments, all the things, the engagement. It means so much to us. Tune in for episodes dropping every week. New studio. Don't even want to say the name because the marketing team is good.
Nope.
Really good. So I'm not going to say the name. Studios, Matt, it's all right. It's really good, man. But again, man, a new episode's dropping every week. Thank you, Dr. Nguyen. You're
you.
amazing.
Thank you both. Thank you
we
so much.
admire you. We just appreciate everything that you do. And I'm telling you, I say it all the time to you because every time you speak, I'm like, damn,
You're
she's
grinding
good.
pretty good right now.
Yeah,
bro.
she's pretty good, dude. She's really good. Like, you're really good. And I know that anybody who truly listens to this episode and hears the few chances I gave her to speak,
Very few, yes.
the few chances, you'll hear it. You can't not hear her skills. They're awesome. So, Dr.
Okay.
Nguyen, we love you. Thank you for everything.
Thank
you
you.
for this opportunity. It just really means the world to us. And if I keep going, I'll cry. So, new episodes dropping every week. Powerless is Powerful podcast. We love you all. Thank you.